It's a new day, which means more Outriders news updates for you all. So we've got this right here, just recently posted by the community manager at Square Enix. He's going to be talking about those recent balance changes and the cautious approach the dev team is taking going forward with those changes and any future changes we will be experiencing. Plus, when will players who lost their inventories get their stuff back? We've got new insights from the dev team about that one. And also, the Outriders in-game is seeing a new and very toxic problem. How can people can fly react? So yeah, we got a lot to discuss. Let's do this. Hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here. Hope you're doing good, and let's dive into the latest Outriders news. First of all, check out this post right here. This is saying people can fly Square Enix social media presence after posting the balance update, and they're kind of poking fun with how they have completely disappeared. Now, Square Enix did reply to this post saying the following. They say, "We're still here, same to community managers on Twitter, Reddit, Steam forums, Discord, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. There are 2 of us, and we've had a lot to deal with this weekend, as you can imagine. We've been monitoring the inventory wipes, collecting reports of it across multiple threads and platforms, building patterns that we feed back to the team, attempting to reproduce such issues, on top of responding to some questions and providing the latest news on social." Why haven't we addressed the balancing questions on social yet? Because to address such community concerns requires more than a 280 character tweet. Any shorthand response will just aggravate annoyed players even further. You'll want details and bigger explanations. I'm working with the design team to write up a bigger and longer insight into the balancing process behind Outriders in between dealing with the inventory wipes. It's coming, but we need to prioritize. So that is their response about that. It looks like they're going to be very cautious and taking it very carefully with any balance changes going forward, considering the response to what they have done with the Trickster, which again, that really sucks that they did that. Now, also, a lot of you guys are wondering, hey, Robbie, when in the world will I get my inventory back? For those of you that experienced that inventory wipe, you are definitely wondering that. So we do have a bit of an update about that one right here. This says, once the issue has been resolved, we're planning to restore lost inventories in mass, and it is our intention to be able to automatically restore epic and legendary gear to any players that lost them. You do not need to contact support at this time, as the recovery should be automatic once we begin the process. Now, here's the new bit. It says, edit for clarity, the process will not be run today, but we hope to run it in the coming week. It should address all affected accounts in one go. So they say we hope to run it in the coming week. So there you have it. And then they say, important, occasionally some inventories may appear empty for a brief moment in time, but be restored again a short while later. Please let us know if this is the case for you. I'm going to throw all the links in the description for you all once again. But it seems like they will be restoring that in the next week from that post, as indicated by that post. It's interesting. They have a little bit of an issue here. I wanted to note that their Steam posts are different from their Reddit posts in some ways. So I think they need to get down the communication with more of a universal approach, because they're having some information that's either missing from the Reddit side or the Steam side of this information. That's just my tidbit there. But anyway, we're going to go into this right here, how Outriders in-game is creating the same toxic environment as Destiny. It says, some Outrider players are facing a similar treatment seen in the in-game of titles like Destiny and Tom Clancy's The Division. Let me know if you're one of those players. I am extremely curious. So we're going to dive into this and have a little look-see as to what this article has to say. So the biggest issue right now is how Devastators don't mix well with Expedition. It says, Devastators as a class and Outriders are best compared to tanks in MMOs. They can withstand a lot of damage, but their focus is not on dealing damage. Plenty of Devastator builds can still pack a punch, but those are not the most popular builds, and players have to get lucky with mods in order to bring everything together. Still, the best things about the Devastators is that they rarely go down, which I think is really cool. I'm not going to be the type of player that's going to kick someone over playing a certain class. Now, they say this, for Expeditions, however, the only goal is speed. Getting through the in-game encounter as fast as possible is all that matters if the team wants to get a gold rating and the best rewards. As a result, The need for being tanky or survivability trumps pure damage. Pyromancers, Tricksters, and Technomancers have it a lot easier when it comes to dealing with damage with a basic build, even after Outriders nerfed some damage perks and abilities. So at the core of this issue, of course, once again, it's rearing its ugly head, is that timer on expeditions. Now, they go on to say the following: the community's sentiment around Devastators and some in-game teams' treatment of the class have called to mind similar situations in games that Outriders seeks to emulate. Both Destiny and Tom Clancy's The Division have had to contend with situations where the community devalued certain players and some were even kicked from groups. That, to me, really does suck. I think the systems in place with this game are kind of catering to this attitude where players are not willing to, I guess you would say, support the weaker class, the weaker build, which in this case looks to be the Devastator, and that is really a bummer because the Devastator is really badass, of course. Now, let's keep going. It says this: Destiny and Division players have faced a similar elitism. It says, when Bungie first announced that Destiny would not support matchmaking for its in-game, players knew that they would need to rely on either their friend groups or outside sites in order to put together raid teams. Looking for group sites appeared that were focused exclusively on Destiny, and many players were able to get raid completions with total strangers. Now, at the same time, the lack of matchmaking fostered an elitism within the Destiny community that the game has struggled with even to this day. For Vault of Glass, raid teams rank with 3 class based on their utility, with Hunters sitting on the bottom of the totem pole. There were plenty of looking for group posts that would say that the group was looking for a Warlock or Titan without any mention of Hunters. The same happened for players without the Jarlhorn. They were seen as less valuable in the in-game team. I tried to pronounce it, okay? Says, to Bungie's credit, the developer did help curb the elitism. The Crotus End raid made Hunters essential, and for future systems gave players paths to high-powered DPS weapons. Night Stalker Hunters then became a pivotal subclass for in-game content thanks to its Shadow Shot super debuff, but most remember the early days when it was hard for certain players to find a team. It's interesting. Maybe they will start adding some sort of subclasses into, Outriders. Do you guys want to see something like that? Do you think that could potentially address issues in the future for Outriders? Now, let's keep going and talk about Tom Clancy's The Division. It says, Tom Clancy's The Division players experienced a similar elitism despite the fact that in-game supported matchmaking. In fact, the treatment of players in The Division feels a lot like what Devastators are experiencing in Outriders. Players would matchmake into a group for an incursion Division in-game encounters, and if they were not high enough gear score, they would either be kicked out of a group or teammates would leave. Now, let's talk about how Outriders can fix this. This is definitely interesting. It says, now Outriders are facing the same situation that Destiny and Division players know all too well. For Destiny and Division, the solution was a little more complex, but Outriders has a few easy possibilities. One is to eliminate the timer on the in-game expeditions, as those prioritize killing fast and nothing else. If the gold level rewards were tied to death, fells, or something that favors Devastator's survivability, then the class would be just as essential, if not more essential, than the other classes. Hell yes, they need more options when it comes to the expeditions. They need to get that down because, my poor Devastator here is being neglected. So let's see other solutions to this problem. The other solution is to buff Devastators in a way that gives them more utility when it comes to dealing damage. Yes, Devastator players are capable of packing a punch, but only with a highly curated build. While Technomancers and Tricksters can deal high damage with minimal customization, Devastators need to spec a very specific way. Absolutely. And there's actually a really interesting post about the Devastators that ties into what we're talking about right now. And this post comes from none other than Raiden Flash right here. He says, I don't care if they aren't meta, Devastators are cool as heck. And he posts this really cool video here. Check it out in the description below if you want to find out more. But some really cool insight as to what people are doing currently to make their Devastators badass. And I really, really wanted to show this off because the community is always finding out some really cool stuff. By the way, again, a very special thank you to everyone that has tuned into my streams. I've seen even more of you guys tuning in lately, so thank you for dropping by. My streams are in the description below, as well as my Discord if you want to find a squad. Check it out. But let's get into these replies about how people are handling the Devastator right now. Let's see here. First of all, we have Indelexible, who says they actually pretty strong people, just don't know how to build. LOL. Dr. Expendable expanded on this, saying eventually someone else is going to realize Untamed Power procs off of melee and post the Jatora build, slapping bosses' faces clean off. I was maining AP Pyro and decided to prune my stash and level an Expendable alt while we wait on the inventory-wide crisis. I assumed going melee on the side of Nuke's bleed build would just be a cute gimmick. I'm blasting elites and bosses into atoms faster than my stacked 100% modded eruptions could. Devastator is fun as F. Division agents just don't know how to use anything but bullets. Interesting. Now, furthermore, Jorah Warface says this: people don't realize melee is a skill use with certain perk in a mod. I run around as bottom tree Devastator with 125% resistance and 300k armor. I think I died once, not paying attention in the past 30 CT challenge tier 15s. Wow, nice. Jojo says, guess what? I already have a Devastator named Jotaro for the express purpose, farming legends still for it. I have my Zoro Trickster build, which clears CT 15 goals. I often love doing builds, Screams and Diablo internally, but farming the mod sucks. Haha. Yeah, so people are figuring out the Devastator, it seems. It seems like people are kind of getting to grips with it, so I found that really interesting. A lot of people aren't actually having a problem, you know, with figuring out these builds. It just seems like you have to get the right mechanics in order to succeed. You know, you have to get lucky enough to get the certain mods and the attributes to be in your favor, I guess you would say. Now, if we go to this post here, it says swapping attributes on legendaries. And it says attributes on legendary gear should be swappable. Change my mind. He says at the cost of shards. Tons of upvotes on this one. A lot of you guys agree. Ching says, I use weapon leech, builds around that so I can heal. Sucks getting a sweet gun without it. Also variants on legendary too. What good is a reload perk of it's the gun's biggest mag or its crit bonus and it's the class's low crit gun? Yeah, so a lot of you guys want to be able to change out the attributes, and I think that would be a really cool system. I think we're going to be seeing something perhaps in the future to address all of this. Now, I found this post funny because it actually happened to me, so I wanted to highlight it. This comes from Tramplo Mortal, who says, someone stole my tires. I can't have crap in Trinch Town. It says 3,000 upvotes. You can see how the tires are missing from the truck. Maybe this is like a known bug that you guys deal with too, but I found it funny. I was like, where are my tires? Someone stole my stuff. Dang it. But I've been through that bug as well. That's like probably one of the bigger bugs I've been through. Thank goodness that's like one of the biggest bugs that I've run into in my time with Outriders. All right, so now it's time to go over your top comments. Let's do this. Let's see what you guys are saying about the most recent video I posted. What was it about? It was about great news. New progress report reveals there is hope. And recently, yeah, People Can Fly said they did server-side adjustments. And because of that, the inventory wipe issue should not be as prevalent. So that's really good news. However, we have some replies. Let's see what you guys have to say about it. CJ Light says, good news, but I'm still cautious. The proof is in the pudding. On a side note, the game is addictive and a blast, even with its problems, and I feel sorry for all those who team up in co-op and cross-platform and have had their game time wiped. It sucks. For this game to have a future and be a franchise, they need to get this sorted out ASAP. P.S. A message to the devs, please consider in the future having online and offline so all players are safe if bugs like this happens again. P.P.S. Leveling up my Devastator and having way more fun with that class than the Technomancer. Yeah. A lot of people can still have fun with the Devastator, for sure. But yeah, I totally agree. They have to get this problem nailed down. It's one of the biggest issues that the game is facing right now. I'm seeing article after article saying like 100 hours gone for certain players. Players are devastated and so on and so forth. And once again, if you're on the outside and you're a Destiny player, Division player, and you've never experienced Outriders, you're going to be pretty hesitant to even give this game a try hearing all of this news. So let's see here. We have QT Law who says, at least the problems with Outriders has kept our favorite OWG channel busy. Jack says his can't even sign in now to check my inventory is gone. Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, so that's a bummer to hear. There was another post by People Can Fly. I wanted to highlight that in this video, but they indicated that if you can't sign into your character, it seems like it's some sort of safeguard perhaps. to prevent something from happening to your save file. I'm paraphrasing there. I like to quote exactly what they have to say to get it right. But Mike Morris says this: thanks for the update, man. Do you ever take a rest? Haha. Sleep is for the weak. Wilson says this: I think if they change the end-game rewards to based on deaths instead of time, then you would see way more build diversity in pre-made groups. Devs, tanking, technos, healing, etc. Interesting, yeah. Yes, they need to change that for sure. You know, I think everyone pretty much agrees. And if they don't listen, I would be surprised, you know. So far, they've had one misstep where they absolutely did not listen, and that's about the Trickster, so it's going to be interesting. Let me tell you what, the future of this game is going to ride on whether or not People Can Fly is really in tune to the community. That's going to be everything going forward. Now, we have another comment here from Brian. I wanted to highlight it because it does have a bunch of upvotes. He says, I would love to see a locking mechanism for the inventory to not accidentally scrap a good armor or weapons. Yes, it seems like that will be coming in like a future patch. I don't know why that's not already in the game. It should be, but yeah, it seems like that will be coming in the future. They definitely need that because I've been super paranoid about doing the same thing. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching. There's the latest news and happenings around Outriders. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.